Each of the young boys had their own personal wire clipper and were under direct orders to start clipping in earnest the moment I got caught up in the wire. But those poor young boys never got the chance. I nailed the move, but never foresaw the possibility that the wire wouldn't hold. Instead of holding me, supporting me, hanging me, the wire sagged and tore under the stress of my weight and momentum, sending me down to the gym floor in a precarious seated position, my arms extended, stubborn barbs still lodged inside both pinky fingers. A quick tug was all it took to break free of my predicament, but not without serious consequences. Angry chunks of flesh peeked up at me from both pinkies. After the match, Tracy Smothers, he of the absurd request, would help me drip stinging antiseptic into the holes and pack the chunks of flesh back into the fingers with the benefit of white athletic tape. So there you go. There's some graphic. The moms are like, what am I doing here? This kid's going to be psychologically scarred forever. Okay? I may, if I go to another one of those where I have a bad word like balls, I may ask the moms, you know, to put the earmuffs on the kids. Okay? I'll give you a warning next time. One of the reasons that I wrote this type of book was because, to me, we do so much cool stuff, some of it not so cool, but we do so much of it at such a fast pace that you sometimes can't even remember what it was you did a few months after the fact. And so I like the idea that you can go back into one specific match and try to get inside a wrestler's head to figure out what he was thinking and what inspired him to do certain things while the match was going on. So although I just read from a match, I'm going to read, this is from the lockdown match, and one of the nice things, or maybe for some people it might be annoying, is that I do tend to go off on tangents, sometimes worse than others depending on what hour of the evening I did my writing. So I was writing this chapter very late at night, and you can see me veer wildly off track on a couple of occasions. But I think you'll like it. We pick up the action when there's only 40 seconds left in the match before we go off the air. I mean, we had really no time to spare, and so I had to pick up the pace. So I guess I'd better hurry. There are all of 40 seconds left before lockdown is history. Earl Hebner is practically begging us to take this baby home, but I've got one more move left in me. It's a classic Foley running knee, in which I don't really connect with my knee at all, but knee sounds so much cooler than flaccid inner thigh. This knee is a little special, however. I dropped the bat down at the last second so that the bat, wrapped in barbed wire, not the flaccid Foley thigh, makes contact with the stinger. Earmuffs. Ooh, even those heartless bastards in Philadelphia felt that one, and with good reason, as a laceration requiring 16 stitches opens up immediately over my right eyebrow. What the heck, you see? In all the hundreds of instances where I charged in with the knee, I'd never had a steel cage to stop my momentum. Look, here comes a charging Foley. See? There's my head bouncing off a steel bar. Down goes Foley. In go 16 big ones. 16 bad boys. 16 stitcheroonies. I had hoped to pull off a move so devastating that even a physically exhausted has-been with bad knees like me could have the time needed to mount one last valiant climbing effort, which would have been perfect if I just had a little time to spare, but I'm down to 20 seconds. I might need to forsake the drama of a slow climb in favor of a quick exit. Tangent time. I think back to 1986, to the words spoken by an 84-year-old woman when she awoke to find me sleeping in my underwear on her couch. You've got to get out, Mickey. You've got to get out now. I was supposed to be a guest at the home for the entire summer, but a few weeks into my stay, a heat wave struck the area, and all of that clothing seemed somehow unnecessary. Heeding those words, I find the fortitude to attempt one last escape, and I'm shocked at how easily I'm able to climb the mesh. I had anticipated big trouble and was quite pleased to be proven wrong. Sting shakes off the effects of the running bat to the face and mounts an escape attempt of his own, climbing the cage in the corner to the right of me. I have the head start, but the Stinger is gaining. I'm reminded of the children's classic Race to the Outhouse by Willie Make It. Illustrations by Betty Don't, which along with Tiger's Revenge by Claude Balls was probably my favorite bedtime story, not counting the timeless Chinese fable Spots on the Wall by Who Flung Pooh. So juvenile. I guess it's about time to end this match and this chapter. Now, it's been pointed out to me from time to time that I do tend to like to write about things within wrestling books that may or may not be about wrestling. And some people don't like it. They don't want me messing with their wrestling stuff. On the other hand, there are moms and dads out here and a couple of other occasional readers who like my thoughts on the outside world and don't really want to read all that wrestling stuff. So I'm very fortunate that two key literary magazines, Publishers Weekly and Booklist, specifically mention that this book would appeal to people who don't even care about wrestling. But knowing that the bulk of the people reading the book are wrestling fans, I have included in this book a handy wrestle meter. Have you guys looked around at the wrestle meter? So therefore, if you're a big wrestling fan and don't want anything but wrestling in your books, and you choose to read a chapter that rates 0 on the wrestle meter, don't blame me, okay? You have been forewarned. But I would like to read to you from a chapter, Reality Star, which merits a 5 on the wrestle meter. And this details my near miss at being in the world of reality television. As it turned out, my family did not have enough conflict in it. And a little later in the chapter, I say if they'd been around about 3 weeks later when my wife purchased Pom Pom, the feces-eating Pomeranian, there would have been plenty of conflict. So anyway, I'm wishing that just one episode could have aired. I just wish it could have aired once, just the pilot, if only for the Rocky scenes. If only to see the phone call from Rocky. First, let me explain that in the world of my little guys, blood is not a noun. It's an action verb. The definition, more or less, to cause bleeding, as in Rocky Balboa leaving a message informing 2 small children that he was going to be stopping by to blood you a little bit. I really just meant it as a joke, a way for my kids to say, "Oh, come on, Dad, we know that was you." Except they didn't know it was me. I may only do 3 good imitations, but Rocky is one of them. The other 2, Terry Funk and Vince McMahon. The Vince imitation is really good. The unintended consequence of my little message is that my children were terrified. "Rocky's coming over," Huey said, "and he's going to blood us." My wife pulled me aside. "Great work, Mick. Your children now think Rocky Balboa is coming over to beat the crap out of them." "Well, what do you think I should do?" I asked. "Have Rocky leave another message, telling them he's only kidding." I walked out the front door and placed the call. "Hi, you've reached the Foleys," the machine said. "Please leave your name, number, and a short message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can." Hello, Mickey, Huey. This is your good friend Rocky Balboa, and I just want you to know that I would never ever blood you guys. Hello, Rocky? It was Huey, thinking he was in fact